For 33 years, the colony ship Eos had been nothing more than a ghost in the sky of Terra Nova. Its broken spine lay across the equatorial ridge like the fossil of some titanic beast, half buried by violet creep vines and the slow, patient dust of an alien world. Every child born on the surface knew the story, how the Eos had torn itself apart during the final descent in 2179, how the quantum fold drive at its heart had detonated and flung the planet itself out of known space, how the colony of 12,000 souls had been written off as lost by an Earth that never came looking. They called the event the Rip. One moment Terra Nova had been 22 light-years from Sol, the next it was gone. Telescopes on Luna saw only empty coordinates. Rescue beacons fell silent. The insurance companies paid out. History closed the file. On the surface, the survivors learned to live without hope of rescue. They built wind-scoured towns from the Eos's hull plates, tamed the six-legged grazers, and told their children that the stars were pretty lies painted on a dome. The older generation still scanned the night sky out of habit, but the younger ones laughed at them. Earth was a fairy tale. The full drive had been the last one ever built, banned after the Rip, its schematics classified, its inventors disappeared into black-budget prisons. Humanity had chosen slower-than-light arcs instead, crawling between stars at 0.12 C, taking centuries to reach anywhere worth going. Captain Amrita Kaur remembered Earth. She had been 38 when the Eos launched. Now, at 94, gene fixes kept her upright but could not stop the tremor in her left hand or the way her eyes watered when the wind came from the west and carried the smell of the wreck. Every year on the anniversary of the Rip, she climbed the ridge alone, pressed her palm to the reactor shielding that still read 0.7 sieverts per hour, and whispered the same useless apology to the 1,200 who had died on impact. That was the world in year 33 after Rip, quiet, resigned, and utterly alone. Middle, the sound that should not have existed. It began as a hum. On the 1,203rd night of the 33rd year, every seismograph in New Tycho City spiked at once. The frequency was 432 Hz, clean as a tuning fork, rising out of the bones of the planet itself. Dogs howled. Children woke screaming. Old Amrita, dozing in the observatory that no one had used in a decade, saw the ancient dish swivel by itself, locking onto a point in the sky directly above the Eos wreck. Then came the second sound, a woman's voice, thin with distance and bad encryption. Repeat, this is ESV Perseverance, Captain J. Hidalgo commanding, responding to 33-year-old distress beacon. Do you copy, Terra Nova? Over. The planet heard it in every language its people still spoke. The voice rode the same carrier wave the Eos had used the day it died. In New Tycho, the council argued for 6 hours. Hoax. Hallucination. Trick of the atmosphere. Amrita Kaur said nothing. She was already walking toward the ridge with a bottle of 120 proof cane spirit and the sidearm she had not fired since the first winter. By dawn, half the colony followed her. They found the wreck changed. The reactor shielding, once blackened and crazed, now glowed soft cobalt. The hum was louder here, vibrating in teeth and kneecaps. Someone had reactivated the Eos's full drive. Not repaired. Reactivated. As though the detonation had simply been paused for 33 years. Amrita knelt in the dust and pressed her ear to the hull. Inside, something vast was breathing. The Perseverance. High above, Captain Juno Hidalgo watched her screens in disbelief. The Perseverance was not supposed to be here. She had been chasing an illegal salvage signature, an unauthorized jump into restricted coordinates. The full drive on her ship was the first prototype built since the ban, hidden inside a diplomatic courier vessel and tested in secret. One short jump to catch poachers. That was all. Instead, the drive had locked onto a ghost beacon and dragged them across a gulf no one had crossed in 3 decades. Now her navigators were screaming that local space was wrong. The constellations did not match any catalog. The sun's metallicity was off by 0.3%. They were in the right place, but the universe around them had been folded like a letter and sealed shut. And something down on the planet was answering. Juno opened the channel again. Terra Nova, if anyone can hear me, my name is Juno Hidalgo. I don't know how we got here, but we are human, we are real, and we are coming down. She took the shuttle herself. No one argued. The crew was too frightened. As the shuttle fell through cloud layers the color of bruised plums, Juno saw the wreck on the ridge glowing like a fallen star. She saw the crowd of people in patched coats and sun-bleached fabrics, faces she had only ever seen in history holos. Children with 6 fingers on their left hands, radiation mutation that had become normal here. Old women with orbital bones tattooed in the style of 2170s Mars. Amrita Kaur waited at the foot of the ramp, sidearm lowered, but not holstered. "You're late," the old captain said. Juno, 30 years old and terrified, managed a smile that shook at the edges. Traffic was murder. The truth in the core. They entered the wreck together, Amrita, Juno, and a handful of others who still remembered how to read pre-rip schematics. The corridors stank of ozone and wet soil. Vines had grown through ruptured decks, thick as a man's thigh. Bioluminescent moss lit their way. The full drive chamber was intact. That was impossible. The detonation should have vaporized everything within 2 kilometers. Instead, the sphere, 15 meters of exotic matter rings and liquid helium veins, hung in vacuum, spinning slowly, wrapped in a shimmer of Cherenkov blue. At its heart floated a perfect sphere of darkness that hurt to look at directly. A single line of text crawled across the one working monitor, repeating in a loop. Temporal anchor active, return vector locked, waiting for secondary node. Amrita understood first. She had helped design the failsafe. "The drive didn't explode," she whispered. "It protected us. When the core went critical, the emergency protocol folded the entire planet into a temporal pocket. We didn't vanish from the universe. The universe vanished from us." Juno stared. 33 years for us. How long for the rest of humanity? "None," Amrita said. "Look." She pointed to the darkness at the center. It was not empty. Suspended inside were stars, tiny, perfect, moving. The Milky Way, compressed to the size of a grapefruit, rotating once every 33 seconds. "The drive held us in a loop," Amrita said. "Every 33 years it tries to resync. That was the beacon you followed. We've been pinging the universe like a broken watch, once per cycle, for 3 decades of real time. Outside, maybe minutes have passed, maybe hours." Juno felt her knees buckle. "We can go home?" "We can try," Amrita said. "But the drive needs 2 synchronized nodes to unfold space safely. One here, one on the other side." She looked at Juno's shuttle visible through the rent hull, its own small fold ring glowing faintly under the wings. "Your prototype," Amrita said. "It's the secondary node. The cost of return." They spent 9 days preparing. Every argument possible was had. Some wanted to stay. Terra Nova was home, scars and all. Others wanted to drag the entire planet back, whether it wished or not. Children who had never seen Earth cried because adults were crying. Lovers parted or clung harder. Someone tried to sabotage the drive and was shot by his own brother. In the end, Amrita and Juno stood alone in the chamber again. "You understand what will happen," Am said quietly. "When we unfold, the planet returns to its original coordinates at the exact second it vanished. The Eos will still be falling. 1,200 people will still die in the crash unless someone warns them." Juno nodded. "We'll be there to catch the ship. The Perseverance is bigger, tougher. We can tractor the Eos into a stable orbit, save everyone." "There's not enough tractor power in the galaxy for that," Amrita said. "Not in the 30 seconds we'll have before impact." She reached into her coat and drew out the sidearm. Placed it gently on the console. "One node has to stay behind," she said. "One drive has to remain folded, holding the anchor until the other is safely through. Then it collapses the pocket forever. Whoever stays doesn't come back." Silence stretched between them like a wire. Juno was the first to speak. "I'll do it." "No," Amrita said. "I'm 94. I've had my life. You haven't started yours. I drag my crew here. They have families. So did the 1,200 on the Eos." They looked at each other across 33 years of someone else's grief. Ending, the sky tears open. On the 10th day, the entire colony gathered on the ridge. The two drives sang in harmony now, one deep and ancient, one high and desperate. The sky above the wreck split along an invisible seam, revealing raw vacuum that sparkled with unborn starlight. Juno stood on the shuttle ramp, coat flapping in a wind that came from nowhere. Below, Amrita raised one trembling hand in farewell. Juno's voice cracked over the open channel. "Captain Kor, permission to come home?" Amrita smiled, the first real smile in 33 years. "Permission granted, Captain Hidalgo. Bring them all home." Juno hesitated. "Amrita, thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Just don't be late this time." The shuttle rose. The Perseverance took position high above. The two drives reached crescendo. Space folded like paper. For one impossible second, two versions of Terra Nova existed in the same place, one green and whole, one broken and burning in its death dive. The Perseverance fired every maneuvering thruster, locked tractor beams onto the Eos's tumbling hull, and dragged it clear of the atmosphere seconds before impact. On the surface that no longer existed, Amrita Kor watched the sky mend itself. The seam closed. The stars she had not seen in 33 years blazed overhead. Orion, the Pleiades, the bright yellow spark of Sol. She sat down in the dust beside the humming drive that was now the only thing in an empty pocket of space-time. The monitor still displayed its patient message. Temporal anchor active return vector locked collapsing in 10-9-8. Amrita opened the bottle of cane spirit, took a long drink, and began to sing the old launch song from the Eos. Her voice was thin, cracked with age, but it carried in the perfect silence. 3, 2, 1. The full drive shut down forever. The pocket collapsed into a photon of pure light that shot away toward Andromeda and was never seen again. Epilogue. The planet was never lost. In the Sol system, 33 minutes after the original distress call, the colony ship Eos limped into high orbit around Terra Nova under tow by the ESV Perseverance. 1,200 extra souls lived who were supposed to be dead. The full drive ban was overturned within the year. Humanity took its first real step toward the stars again, faster than light, unafraid. Children born after the return grew up hearing two versions of the story. In one, a brave young captain flew through a hole in space to save a lost world. In the other, an old woman stayed behind and sang to the dark so that everyone else could see the sun again. Both versions were true. And somewhere out past the Oort cloud, a single bottle of Cain's spirit still drifts, frozen in the void, waiting for someone with the right kind of engine to come along and finish the last drink with Captain Amrita Kor, who never really left and never really stopped coming home. The planet was lost until humanity's full drive activated and brought it back.